now we have the role center and as activity role center, and more or less same as in the previous version, but some new features here, which I will go through. The queue section, or the queue views here on top of the role center, these are the same and giving you the status of what's going on in the location. But I'm gonna just close this part here now, so we can have kind of full screen for the booking process. So we have the products here in this middle section here, and we have the availability for the selected product here in the lower section. Then on the right side we have the resources, which are showing you their current status and their assignments for the current day, or for today in this case. And then we have a graphical view of both the booking ahead, the reservations ahead, and the history for any selected product as I select from the product list. One of the new features here in the product view is we are able to see availability much more based on resources if that is more relevant for a product. So for example, I have here a product that I want to see this way. So in the availability section now, I'm seeing availability for this particular product based on the resources. So and then I can finish the booking process and select the resource here up front before I go into the booking process. So for some products this is much more relevant to have direct availability per resource, but other products you might just want to see like this one here, where I have availability just based on the product itself, not showing individual resources in this view here. So this is one of the new features. Also, we can also see availability based on the resources. So we can change the view here to show us the resources, and then as we pick a resource like a Benjamin here, we can see the services this resource can perform, and then as I select the product, I will see the availability in the lower section according to this product and this resource. So I can then directly book this resource for appointment at this point. So we can just, if I select Wednesday 10 a.m. new activity, select some client, and this client actually had allowance, which we mentioned before, and I will go through that later on. So here we have the appointment, and we already have selected the resource. So the resource is already assigned here, Benjamin, on the resource selection. So I can just hit OK, and the appointment is reserved on, in this case, Benjamin Ford as the selected resource. So this is quite nice way of booking appointments or making reservations directly on the resource, or you can also do the same process just through the products and have the system automatically select the product, the resource. I can also, I just want to show you here the preferences. So I'm going to select the 30 minutes massage. I'm going to select the appointment Tuesday 5:30, and if I hit new activity, I'm going to select, let me see, Max Baker, I think it is. And if you look at the appointment now, we have made this appointment for Max Baker, and if I see the resources, oops, nope, not here, selected the wrong resource. So I wanted to show you the automatic selection of the resource, so let me just cancel this one. So if you just find a client here that has preferences, So I'll find, look at Stefan Thompson, take a look at his preferences. Let's just apply some preferences. So I'm gonna apply that for this product, the human resource would be Benjamin Ford. So in this case, I can either preset these preferences down to the client card or on the client card, but I can also do this on the appointment itself. Or set the preferences. So if we go now to make appointment, massage 30 minutes, select free time, select Stefan Thompson, and this client has allowance, which is fine. And now we should have the resource applied to it automatically if we hit OK. Yeah. So if I take a look at the appointment, which was created here, massage 30 minutes, and we just take a look at the resources, then Benjamin Ford was just automatically selected because of the preference settings. Also, as we noticed, we got messages here that that this client had allowance. I'm going to open up the appointment to go through that. So, as we mentioned in the slides, you can pre-sell any product in bulk. So, in this case, Stefan Thompson had already bought 10 sessions of massage 30 minutes. So, when I did the booking, if we take a look at here at the allowance session here on the fact box here, it actually picked up that allowance reference. And that's why we got the notification that that this solution would be using their allowance to actually finalize the payment. So basically, you can sell any product up front in bulks, and the system, when you do the booking, it just automatically, based on the client, picks up the allowance and uses that as a payment for the appointment. So that was a little bit about preferences and about allowances. So I want to also show you a little bit about the possibilities regarding events. So I have one event here. I created one conference event or a small event. And we see here we have rented some, take a look at the room rental here. On the 25th from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock, we've actually rented an event room and or are in the process of renting an event room. So here, as any kind of appointment, this is now, but in this case we're reserving event space. And we can also open up here the activity card for the line, and then set up things like, for example, additional charges, where we set up, for example, the food and beverage for this event. And we can also set up tasks, which are automatically then kicked off either prior to the event or after the event or during the event. This could be setting up the room or cleaning the room afterwards. So we've done all that. And now I basically have a quote or event reservation as a quote, and I might want to just create a nav quote. I just have this option here, nav quote. I just select that one. I want to create quote, and it just basically converts the reservation into a nav quote, which we can then present or send to the client, etc., just as with any other nav quotes, having cost prices on the products and see the actual final revenue. So same as with quotes, we can also finalize this as a nav invoice. It's exactly the same process as with quote, but it just creates a nav invoice. So, which when you finalize would post the payment post as payment to this reservation. You can still also pay all the activities or the events on the POS and prepare them on the POS as well. So also I want to go through then some of the new features on the role center, or basically the views we have now in place. So we mentioned on the slides we mentioned, for example, the resource analysis. So resource analysis, where you can select any kind of period, let's say month, and you can then drill down to the basically the entries behind these figures, and you can, based on the selected period you have selected here in the lines, you will get the distribution of the same amount between the resources. If we go to the timeline view here, so timeline view basically shows you an agenda for any given date. So let's see some date here. So this timeline can be then selected with any kind of interval. We're just going to see this in 60-minute intervals, and you can then also define what resources you want to see here in the list. This could be, in this case, are we seeing human resources, but this, you could want to see the rooms or whatever additional resources we have assigned on these activities. So when I also select the line here, the fact box is updated, showing me the values for the particular activity. It's showing me the attributes assigned and also the resources assigned here. I can also open up all the relevant details. For example, the activity card, if I just click on the activity card, or the client details behind this activity, or the resource that I'm looking at in the agenda view. So really nice view of showing me what's going on at a certain date and giving me access to any of the relevant information there. Then I want to show you the matrix view. So when selecting the matrix view, by default you can set on the user what view it's actually showing you here. In this case, I've defined I wanted to see the resources in SPA, in this case SPA rooms and the human resources, and I can just switch between days by just scrolling through the days here, or I can go to a selected date. So I'm just going to pick up, let me see, nope, nothing here. Go on the 20th. Yep, so we have some appointments here on the 20th. So here I can just click on the appointment or the activity. The fact boxes are updated, so I see all the relevant information for that particular activity. I can also open up the reservation just by clicking on the open reservation card up here. And I can also initiate a new appointment from here. So, for example, if I wanted to make a new appointment for Jessica here, the resource Jessica, so I'll choose 11 o'clock, click on a cell. I get a list of all the products this person actually is managing. So it's a 30 minutes massage I'm booking, hit OK. And then it's just the same process as you saw earlier in the role center. So it's just selecting the client. I'll select Max Baker here. And basically we got our appointment, and just hit OK to finalize that. And we should see here, the matrix updated here now with the Max Baker appointment here. So very easy to create new appointments or drill down to the information from the matrix. What's also interesting here, this view, when you create these views, we base them on what we call templates, matrix templates. So these matrix templates can be defined to filter certain resource groups. You can decide if you want to see the resources as horizontal or vertical on the matrix. you can decide the interval, or if you're just seeing them as a date per day. And you can also specify the time. So I might want to see events, for example, in the morning, or events in the afternoon, etc. So if I click on events here, I'm switching the view to show me the event rooms, and this is then availability per day, or I can switch to an event view which is based on interval, 60-minute interval for a certain day. So completely user-defined, what you're presenting here and how, and also the look and feel is also set up just exactly the same as the pause interface or the pause look can be defined. It's actually using the same mechanism, and you should be familiar kind of with the look of this. So that was the matrix view. So I just want to go into the POS now, and I'm just going to open up the POS and show you some of the same features basically through the point of sale interface. So here we just have the standard, obviously the LS pause, and of course in this case I've selected a certain layout, and of course it's totally up to you, the look and feel of the point of sale, as you should be familiar with the LS pause. I've just added a menu here which is actually part of the demo data we provide, and here we have just sample of some of the pause commands so we can use at the pause. I just also want to show you some of these features like booking appointment from the pause. So and now we can also both sell, basically finalize appointment from the pause here, or just book it and not finalize it. So both booking and selling processes are supported. So I'm just going to hit here massage 30 minutes. It asks for a date. It will give me then availability list, and I'll just select some available time. I can select the customer or create a new customer at that point. Again, I have a customer that actually has allowance, and it is just indicating me that this client has allowance as for this product. But I just don't want to show you that at this point, so I'm going to create a new appointment to some person that doesn't have allowance. So I'm just going to create a new appointment I'm going to select Sabina. Yeah, so I selected Sabina as the client, and I'm now selecting the resource. If I had assigned Sabina with a preferred resource, then it would skip this selection if that resource had been available. But I'm just going to select manually here Margaret, and I can select additional products, and it just brings down the appointment to the POS and the additional items which I've selected. I can just click on here, for example, open up the activity card to take a look at this activity card if I need, and even make changes, or I can just finalize the sale from here, and actually at the same moment book the appointment. The same process for posting or basically booking appointments down to a fixed resource. So for example, I put here buttons with Benjamin and Linda. So that are just resources which I want to be able to book directly. So if I click on Linda here, then I get a list of the products or the services Linda is capable of. I select the product, hit OK, select the date, and get list of Linda's availability in this case. So since I've already selected the resource, I get just her availability, select OK, and now I'm actually selecting the client. Let's just put Tom Thompson here. So that's the same process exactly the same process as the previous one, but just in this case I just started with selecting the resource instead of selecting the product first. So I'm just going to avoid that. Then I want to show you possibilities regarding accessing information here in a pause format. So for example, the timeline view which we mentioned, we saw in the back office. So here I can just select the date, so let's say 19th, and here is the agenda view, exactly the same view as we saw in the role center, but just in a pause format. And from here I can even just select the activity I want to take a look at, hit OK, and it will open up the activity card or the appointment card for that particular reservation. So we can bring kind of this back-end views into the POS, and you can access it in a format that's kind of more native for the POS. So another nice feature here is to sell any activity product based on an availability matrix from the POS. So that's just another POS command here, availability matrix. Again, I select the date, and what happens now, it is actually showing me the availability matrix on the POS just as a menu on the POS. So here I can even just click on the cell here and open up the appointment if I need to take a look at this appointment, or I can just start initiating the sales process. So if I want to make appointment for Jessica here, I just click 9:30, Jessica. She can do these services. So it's exactly the same process as when I'm booking a specific resource, obviously. So I just select the product and select the client. And everybody has allowances. They've all been pre-buying stuff. And then we just pull in the booking. So you can do this booking through the POS matrix, just the same way as we did in the back end, but actually pull it into the POS at the same time. So also a nice feature here is, okay, if you need a bigger view for the matrix, you can, for example, and this is just one sample of what is possible. I just put this as a kind of swipe feature. So if I would have a touch screen, I could just swipe the screen now, or just click on this area here, and then the view just changes into full screen view, and I can have I do all the same things as I did when it was in the smaller view here. So very integrated, highly integrated views of availability as a matrix, as a list availability, or etc. from the point of sale. So that was a light demo of the version 2. So I hope you saw the how flexible it is and the new nice features.